Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. So today's video is a reading vlog of all the books that I read for this week, the week of April 30th to May the 6th. So I finished a total of 3 books this week, and the first book that I finished was Prince Caspian, and this is book number 4 in the Chronicles of Narnia series by C.S. Lewis, and this is a classic fantasy. So the premise of this book revolves around the 4 Pevensey children, Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy, and who we meet in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and they are about to be going to boarding school when they're summoned back to Narnia. And so they were in, you read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, towards the end of the book they become kings and queens of Narnia. So in this book, the Prince Caspian, they're brought back. And so, because there's a new ruler in Narnia, Prince Caspian, and so he needs their help. And you see, there's a bit of you find out a little bit more about Prince Caspian, like what his family life is like, and so he's going to be taking over the throne. So he needs the children's help to, I guess, secure things and make sure that everything is smooth, everything runs smoothly. So this one I liked more than The Horse and His Boy, which is the previous book. So I gave this book 4 wontons out of 5, and I did enjoy it. This was a buddy read on Mr. Francie's Discord server on his channel. And so I forget what the next book is called. It might be I think I'm calling Dawn Treader, but I'm probably confusing it with the Outlander series. I can't remember the exact name of the book, but we're going to be reading that next one next month. And the next book that I read was Her Every Fear by Peter Swanson, and this is a thriller. And I read this as a buddy read with Sharon on Discord. And so the premise of this book, it revolves around Kate, one of the main characters. She's had some things going on in her life that have been very traumatizing. And so she gets in contact with her distant cousin, Corbin, who lives in Boston. And he suggests that they swap apartments. So he'll live in her apartment and she'll live in his back in Boston. So she decides, oh yeah, sure, I'll go and live in Corbin's apartment. So she, it's a great opportunity to get away and to just be away from all the trauma or the issues that she's having back in the UK. She's from London, I believe. So she goes over to Corbin's apartment. It's on Beacon Hill, so I'm guessing that's a really posh neighborhood. I think in New York City, I believe. So once she gets there, later on she finds out that her next door neighbor Audrey is murdered, and there's suspicion that Corbin might have done it, or he might have been involved in some way. And there's the way that the complex works, I guess it's like in a U shape, so they kind of there's another character in the book named Alan, and he lives on the opposite side, so he's able to see over into Audrey's apartment. And so he thinks that, or he says that he saw Corbin go into Audrey's apartment one day, so he's thinking that Corbin must have done something. And so Kate is wondering, oh, what's going on here? Is Corbin actually guilty? And when she gets in contact with him, he tells her, no, I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. And so she finds or discovers things that are going on, or finds things in the apartment that raises her suspicions. Her red flag meter is going up. So this book, it was okay. I found I didn't like it as much as 9 Lives or The Kind Worth Killing. Those are the other 2 books that I've read by Peter Swanson. But this book I gave 3 wontons out of 5, and it could be because I was listening to it on audio, and I think I wasn't focused very very well on the book. I think my attention was wandering, so I wasn't really focused on it. And that would be more my own fault, I guess, than anything. Nothing against the book. I think if I had actually focused, I probably would have enjoyed it more. So the last book that I read, and I just finished it, is Murder on Bedford Street. And this is book number 26 in the Gaslight Mystery Series by Victoria Thompson, and this is a cozy mystery series. And the centers around, so you have Sarah and Frank Frank was a police officer, and now he's a private detective, and Sarah is a midwife. And the reasons of why Frank is now a private investigator, I'm not. That'll be a spoiler, so I'm not going to reveal how that happens. So you have to read the previous books in the series to find out what actually is how he ended up switching careers. So the premise of this book is so this man named Hugh Breedlove, he comes to Frank and asks him to investigate his nephew-in-law. So his niece Julia is married to this man named Chet Longley, and Chet put Julia in an insane asylum. And so Hugh wants Frank to investigate to find out if there's anything going on in the house that just to put suspicion on Chet, to bring him down, to maybe get Julia some justice. And so because Chet is, Hugh believes that Chet is not a very nice man, and he's abusive, and that he put Julia in an insane asylum so that he could carry on doing whatever he wanted and to keep her away from their son, Victor. So Frank agrees to investigate, and we also have two characters, Maeve and Gino. And Maeve, she works alongside Sarah, and this is another. I'm not going to spoil what kind of relationship Maeve has with Sarah, because you find out in the previous books how she and Gino, like, how they're all connected. So they go in, they decide to work like undercover in the house so that they can get more information, because if they were in the house they can observe more and ask more questions, more than what Frank and Sarah will be able to do because they're on the outside. So Maeve comes into the house as Victor's nanny / governess, and Gino comes in as a stable worker, like a stable hand. And so we find out that one of the maids in the house had mysteriously died. So they're investigating. So Gino and Maeve are investigating that, trying to figure out what's happening. And so we also have some other characters, like, so Hugh Breedlove and his wife, they came over from England, I believe, and they have a daughter, Ruth, and she's getting ready to have a coming out season. Coming out, like, if you're reading a historical romance or anything like that, these young women are presented like they're in their, like, 16, 17 years old. So they go to all these parties and balls and things like that to present themselves to a society, to find eligible men to marry, to be suitable husbands. So we find out. So besides all this, we think that Chet is an evil man, that he's punishing his wife, or that he's keeping his son away from his mother, and then we have Ruth. She has a bit of a I don't know if ego is the right word, but she's got a bit of a spoiled brat, entitled brat attitude about her. She's saying, "Oh, I want Julia out of the way. I don't want her here. She's messing with my season." She had that kind of brattiness about her that was kind of off-putting. When you find out later on, there's a twist at the end of the book of what really is happening, and so that twist it surprised me. I wasn't actually expecting it. And so this book, I really, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I love the mystery, I love the story, the characters, the way it was all laid out, and the twist at the end. Like I said, I really surprised me, and I didn't see it. And so I gave this book 5 wontons out of 5. And so I don't give five star ratings or 5 wonton ratings very often. So this, I really did enjoy it. And so I'm caught up on this series now, because number 26, this book, number 26, is the most recent book that has been published in the series. So I'll be eagerly anticipating the next book in the series. And so if you've never read the series before, I really encourage you to try it, because there's a lot of character development in the series, and it's like everybody becomes like a found family, similar to the Bake Shop series, but in a different way. Oh, and this book is set in New York around 1901, I believe. So it's that kind of not quite. It's like kind of like the end of the Victorian era and into the Edwardian era. So the Edwardian era starts after Queen Victoria's death in 1901. So it was like just at the start. So that was all of the books that I read this week. It was pretty good. I wanted to read one more book, but I didn't. There wasn't enough time for that. But how did your reading week go? And what books did you read, and how did you find them? If you'd like to post in the comments, please do so. So this is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and your evening, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.